Dong-eun lived through a nightmare every single day. If she missed even one gym lap, she had to climb 300 more. One mistake, and a burning curling iron waited for her. The more Dong-eun suffered, the happier Yeon became. Soon, bruises covered her entire body. With no other hope, Dong-eun begged her homeroom teacher for help, but he stayed cold. He claimed it was not real violence unless someone broke a bone. Furious, Dong-eun called him a heartless bystander. The teacher exploded, then slapped her over and over. Even others could not stop him. Desperate, Dong-eun called the police. But Yeonjin's mother paid them off. They dismissed everything as a childish fight, then walked away. Instead of ending the bullying, Dong-eun's resistance made it worse. The girls broke into her house, stole her piggy bank, then mocked her. They ordered her to dance if she wanted it back. With no choice left, Dong-eun obeyed. Yeonjin stared at her pale legs. Seconds later, Dong-eun's screams filled the hallway. Broken inside, she climbed onto a rooftop. She wanted to end everything, but when death stood before her, fear stopped her. She collapsed, crying alone. Nobody understood her pain. The burns on her body started itching badly. She rubbed snow over her legs, then her arms. Finally, she lay down in the freezing snow, hoping the cold would ease the pain. The next day, Dong-eun applied to leave school because of the bullying, but the teacher refused. A student dropping out would damage his record. He secretly joined forces with the bullies' mothers. Together, they bribed Dong-eun's own mother. Without hesitation, her mother changed the reason for leaving school. When Dong-eun returned home, her landlord delivered another blow. Her mother had packed up and left that very morning. Then Dong-eun checked the school papers. The bullying report was gone. Instead, the reason now said, unable to adjust to school life. She could not believe her own mother had abandoned her. Her wounds burned with pain, but her heart hurt even more. That day, Dong-eun understood one thing. Nobody would save her. She had to become strong herself. She walked straight to her bullies. This time, there was no fear in her eyes. She looked at Yeonjin and made a promise. From this day forward, Yeonjin would become her only dream. 20 years passed. Yeonjin now worked as a famous weather reporter. She had married into a rich family and was raising a lovely daughter. For Dong-eun, the time for revenge had finally arrived. She rented a house across from Yeonjin's home. Every day, she quietly watched the family's every move. Every night, she searched through Yeonjin's trash, looking for even the smallest clue. One evening, the family's nanny caught her. Dong-eun had avoided every security camera, but not the nanny's sharp eyes. She tried to buy the nanny's silence. The woman refused. She said she wanted no money. She also promised not to report her. Even without knowing the full story, she admired Dong-eun's determination. For 6 straight months, she had come back every single night. Then the nanny offered to help. Dong-eun asked what she wanted in return. The answer was simple. Kill my husband. The nanny revealed her painful life. Her husband abused her, and even beat their daughter. She could not endure it anymore. Both women carried the same scars, so they formed an alliance. Dong-eun handed the nanny photos of every bully. She asked her to secretly watch them and collect information. Soon, useful clues began to appear. The nanny discovered Yeonjin often took her daughter to a special eye clinic. Dong-eun investigated further. The clinic focused on treating color blindness. Color blindness could be inherited. One of her old bullies, Jae-joon, had been born colorblind. Back in school, classmates often mocked him for it. Every joke pushed him into violent rage. His illness had always been his greatest weakness. To test her suspicion, Dong-eun visited Myung-oh. He used to follow Jae-joon everywhere, and still worked under him. Every day, Jae-joon insulted and humiliated him. Deep inside, Myung-oh had already begun to hate him. Dong-eun offered him a deal. She claimed she knew a secret powerful enough to destroy Jae-joon. Tempted, Myung-oh agreed to help. With his assistance, Dong-eun secretly collected a few strands of Jae-joon's hair. She planned to compare his DNA with Yeonjin's daughter. Still, Myung-oh had one question. If she wanted revenge, why was she leaving him out? Dong-eun calmly answered. He had nothing to lose. Unlike the others, who still had everything. Those words only pushed Myung-oh further. Now he wanted to destroy Jae-joon himself, but Dong-eun never intended to spare him. He still had something worth taking. His life. Soon after, the nanny returned with another valuable secret. The chairman of Yeonjin's daughter's school was secretly having an affair with his driver. Dong-eun immediately used that secret as leverage. The chairman had no choice but to obey. Soon, Dong-eun became the homeroom teacher of Yeonjin's daughter. But the little girl was never her true target. Her real goal was Yeonjin's husband, Do-hyun. Dong-eun discovered that Do-hyun loved playing Go. To get close to him, she asked her college friend Ju for help. Ju was a Go master. Under his guidance, Dong-eun improved at an incredible speed. As time passed, Ju started falling for her. But Dong-eun never opened her heart. Love meant nothing to her now. She wanted only one thing, revenge. Soon, Dong-eun visited a Go club. She challenged the owner, betting $200 on every match. One game after another, she kept winning. Her fearless style caught Do-hyun's attention. Standing outside, he could not stop watching her. Her skills were outstanding, and her beauty made her impossible to ignore. That night, Do-hyun replayed every move in his mind. One thing confused him. Dong-eun could have won much sooner, but she deliberately slowed the game. His curiosity only grew stronger. He eagerly waited to meet her again, but after that day, she disappeared. Just as he gave up and prepared to leave, Dong-eun finally arrived. Everything happened exactly as she had planned. The two sat down for a game. While they played, Do-hyun asked about her job. Dong-eun calmly replied, "She fooled simple-minded men, took their money, then broke their hearts." Do-hyun smiled and asked if business was good. She answered no, because she was actually a good person. Her strange reply caught him completely off guard. Seeing her trap work perfectly, Dong-eun finished the match, then stood up to leave. Do-hyun quickly stopped her. He asked for one more game. She refused without hesitation. Later, Dong-eun waited at a convenience store along his route home. Just as expected, Do-hyun pulled over. He handed her his business card and invited her to play Go again someday. Dong-eun rejected him once more. Her cold attitude only made him want her even more. Without knowing it, someone secretly photographed the entire moment. The next day, Dong-eun met an old college senior for lunch. He was not handsome, but he happened to be the son of her former homeroom teacher. Although she felt disgusted, Dong-eun forced herself to smile and chat with him. Later, she visited the teacher's house. She reminded him exactly who she was, the Dong-eun who dropped out in 2004. The teacher slowly remembered her. At that moment, his son returned home. Dong-eun warmly greeted him, acting as if nothing had happened. She casually mentioned that she had known his father for years. Then she handed the teacher a bouquet. She knew he was badly allergic to pollen. His son quickly took the flowers instead. Dong-eun smiled. She said they were a gift to celebrate his success in the civil service exam. Embarrassed, he admitted he had only passed the first stage. The final interview still remained. Dong-eun confidently said he would surely succeed. After all, he came from a respected family of teachers. Then she quietly mentioned how kind his father had been when accepting her school withdrawal papers. The hidden meaning struck instantly. The teacher exploded with rage. He threw the flowers at Dong-eun, then shouted that he should have killed her years ago. The loud argument attracted the neighbors. To protect his father's reputation, the son hurried him back inside. Then, Dong-eun revealed the truth. She told him everything that had happened in the past. Now the son faced a choice: his father or his own future. He chose his career without a second thought. He filled the room with flowers. As his father's allergy became worse, he simply watched. Even after the old man stopped breathing, he stayed calm. Only then, he called an ambulance. The teacher's death marked the first victory in Dong-eun's revenge. Now, the bullies would be next. Meanwhile, Yeon was living the perfect life. She had married into a wealthy family. She was even honored as a distinguished graduate. The rest of the old bullying group gathered to celebrate with her. Just as Yeon stepped onto the stage, loud applause suddenly echoed through the hall. The person clapping the hardest was Dong-eun. The entire room joined in. After the ceremony ended, Yeon stormed toward her. Without warning, she slapped Dong-eun across the face. Jae-jun quickly stepped between them. Dong-eun stayed calm. Instead of fighting back, she congratulated Yeon. She said Yeon had achieved every dream: a successful career, a rich husband, beauty, a happy family. But Dong-eun quietly added, her own dream had only just begun. Yeon immediately realized something was wrong. Dong-eun had been digging into her life. She demanded to know what she wanted. Jae-jun tried to calm the situation. He warned Yeon to protect her image. He even apologized to Dong-eun for her. Dong-eun refused to accept it. Instead, she mocked the strange bond between them. Jae-jun dropped the polite act. He sneered at Dong-eun. Back in school, she had been invisible. Now, she suddenly looked different. Dong-eun fired back with one sharp question. Had he ever truly seen any colors at all? The words hit his biggest weakness. Jae-jun fell silent, embarrassed. Dong-eun calmly said goodbye, then walked away. Soon after, Yeon received a call from her daughter. She learned her daughter's new homeroom teacher was Dong-eun. Yeon rushed straight to the school. Inside the classroom, only Dong-eun was waiting. Dong-eun calmly said this was no coincidence. Yeon only smirked. To her, Dong-eun was still the weak girl from years ago. She believed she could crush her anytime. Then another call arrived. Their old homeroom teacher was dead. Yeon froze. She slowly looked at Dong-eun. Dong-eun hinted that the death was no simple accident. Yeon immediately suspected her. Dong-eun never denied it. For the first time, real fear entered Yeon's heart. Then Dong-eun casually mentioned her daughter. Yeon instantly lost control. She warned Dong-eun to stay away from the child. That reaction was exactly what Dong-eun wanted. She wanted Yeon to wake up every day, living in fear. From that moment on, Yeon-jin's confidence disappeared. She could only worry about what Dong-eun might do next. When her daughter returned home, Yeon-jin immediately checked her. She asked whether anyone had bullied her, whether a teacher had hurt her. Her daughter looked confused. She said anyone who treated children like that deserved punishment. Those innocent words shook Yeon-jin. She could never allow her daughter to discover the truth about her past. She had to separate her from Dong-eun. So Yeon-jin went straight to the principal. She even offered him money to fire Dong-eun, but the principal refused. Dong-eun had been appointed by the chairman himself. He had no power to remove her. Left with no other choice, Yeon-jin walked away. Meanwhile, her daughter argued with another student. One girl insisted cherry blossoms should be pink. Yeon-jin's daughter had painted them blue. Dong-eun stepped in to settle the fight. But from the classroom door, she noticed Yeon-jin secretly watching, so she calmly placed a pair of scissors on the little girl's shoulder, just enough to terrify Yeon-jin. Right after class, Yeon-jin walked up to Dong-eun. She offered her money, hoping she would disappear. Then she pushed a paper forward. She wanted Dong-eun to promise never to go near her daughter again. It was the same trick used years ago, when Dong-eun's own mother signed her school withdrawal papers. But Dong-eun had spent years preparing for this moment. Money meant nothing to her. Then she looked at her daughter's drawing. Calmly, she revealed the truth. The little girl was colorblind, and her real father was Jae-jun. Yeon-jin's face instantly lost all color. Dong-eun calmly assured her she had no intention of hurting the child. She only needed to speak with the girl's parents. Then she paused. Which father should she talk to? Yeon-jin burned with anger, but she swallowed every word. Later, she tried another plan. She gently persuaded Do-young to send their daughter overseas. When Do-young asked why, Yeon-jin claimed the girl's teacher was unstable. Do-young looked confused. He said he would simply meet the teacher himself. Yeon-jin panicked. She quickly changed the subject. Meanwhile, Dong-eun kept moving. From Myung-oh, she gathered dirt on 2 more bullies. She learned about Sarah's drug history. She also uncovered the wealthy family Hye-jung hoped to marry into. One day, Sarah was praying inside her father's church. Then she looked up and saw Dong-eun staring straight at her. A chill ran through her body. Dong-eun walked over without fear. She threatened to expose Sarah's drug use. Then she gave her a warning. Fill a bag with cash within 2 weeks, or face the consequences. Sarah exploded with rage. But this time, Dong-eun never stepped back. She shoved Sarah aside. Because of the struggle, a few strands of Sarah's hair were ripped out. Dong-eun calmly warned her. This was only the beginning. Under pressure, Sarah finally prepared the money. She still believed cash could solve everything. She arrogantly told Dong-eun to take it, then disappear forever. Dong-eun refused. She promised something far worse. Sarah would live in hell. Shaking with anger, Sarah demanded to know what she wanted. Dong-eun ignored the question. She simply turned around and walked away. Sarah could only scream behind her. At the same time, Dong-eun ordered the nanny to follow Hye-jeong. The nanny secretly switched her phone. By the time Hye-jeong noticed, it was already too late. Dong-eun had unlocked everything. Inside the phone, she found selfies with different men, and she also discovered news about Hye-jeong's upcoming marriage. Among the old bullies, Hye-jeong had always been the weakest. Without Dong-eun becoming their target years ago, she would have been bullied herself. Now she desperately wanted to marry into a rich family, to climb higher in life. The next step soon began. Dong-eun handed Myung-oh an address. She told him to visit if he wanted easy money. When Myung-oh arrived, he entered a funeral home. Inside lay So-hee's preserved body, the same girl they had bullied years ago. The police ruled her death a suicide, but her parents never believed it, so they kept her body, waiting for the truth. Dong-eun then revealed another secret. She had seen Yeon-jin push So-hee off the building. The name tag found in her hand was the proof. Myung-oh's eyes lit up. Now he knew the real killer. He immediately planned to blackmail Yeon-jin for 10 million. Dong-eun did not care about the money. He could keep every dollar. She wanted only one thing: record Yeon-jin's confession. Following Dong-eun's instructions, Myung-oh contacted the other 3 bullies. He even called Do-young. Then, everything suddenly changed. That very night, Myung-oh died under mysterious circumstances. Nobody knew what happened. Everyone simply assumed he had disappeared. Not one of them dared call the police. Each person had secrets they wanted buried. Soon after Myung-oh's death, Do-young received an anonymous package. Inside, he found Myung-oh's business card, along with photos of himself standing with Dong-eun outside a convenience store. Confused, he called the number on the card. The phone was already switched off. Looking for answers, he visited Jae-jun. Jae-jun claimed he could not reach Myung-oh either. Then he casually asked, had Myung-oh been threatening him? Do-young stayed silent. Jae-jun quietly pulled out a pack of cigarettes. It was the exact same brand Yeon-jin smoked. After all, they had known each other since high school. At that moment, a seed of doubt began growing inside Do-young. But Jae-jun was hiding something too. He had received an anonymous email. Attached was a DNA report. It showed a 99.9% match with Yeon-jin's daughter. Jae-jun exploded with anger. His own child had been calling another man father, so he decided to expose the truth. Without saying it directly, he planted more suspicion in Do-young's mind. When Do-young returned home, he carefully questioned Yeon-jin. Did she still meet her old classmates? Yeon-jin calmly replied, she sometimes visited Jae-jun's clothing store. Then Do-young mentioned Myung-oh. Yeon-jin's expression instantly changed. She quickly asked, had Myung-oh threatened him? That answer felt strange. Everyone seemed to assume Myung-oh had blackmailed him. Yeon-jin could not explain herself, but Do-young asked nothing more, because by then, he had already started putting the pieces together. The next day, he quietly went to pick up his daughter from school. He casually asked, was your new teacher treating you badly? His daughter shook her head. She said the teacher was kind. She also mentioned something else. The teacher had been her mother's friend since high school. That answer settled everything. Do-young knew Yeon-jin was hiding the truth, so he tested her. Her silence was all the answer he needed. Yeon-jin soon noticed her husband acting differently. She checked the navigation in his car. Then she froze. Do-young had recently visited Jae-jun's club, terrified that her affair had been exposed. Yeon-jin rushed to Jae-jun. She demanded to know what he had told her husband, but Jae-jun was even more furious. He grabbed her by the neck. Then he demanded an answer. Why had she used his daughter? To protect her rich marriage? Yeon-jin barely escaped his grip. To calm him down, she had no choice but to reveal her final card. Even then, Jae-jun refused to forgive her. Not long after, the school held a parent-child event. Jae-jun showed up without warning. In front of Do-young, he boldly claimed he had come to see his own illegitimate daughter. Do-young's suspicion grew even stronger. At that moment, Dong-eun entered the room. When Do-young learned she was his daughter's homeroom teacher, he realized none of this was a coincidence. Looking for answers, he met Hye-jang. He asked about Yeon-jin and Dong-eun. Hye-jang finally revealed the past. From the very first day of school, Yeon-jin and the others had bullied Dong-eun. The abuse never stopped, and Dong-eun had not been their only victim. Hearing every cruel detail, Do-young felt a chill run through him. Now he understood. Meeting Dong-eun had been part of a much bigger plan. He also understood why Hye-jung had suddenly betrayed her friends. She had received an anonymous envelope. Inside were photos, showing her with several different men. She threw them away. Soon she would marry into a wealthy family. Nothing else mattered. But then, her future mother-in-law requested a private health examination. Hye-jung immediately became nervous. Knowing her past could ruin everything, she secretly bribed the doctor. Later, she proudly handed over the health report. But the older woman wanted something else, a credit report. She wanted proof that Hye-jung carried no debts. Just then, the woman's face suddenly brightened. She warmly greeted someone nearby. It was Dong-eun. The two had met before, while praying at a temple. Dong-eun smiled politely. She acted as if nothing was wrong. Then she casually mentioned that she and Hye-jung had gone to high school together. Hye-jung stood there, unable to say a word. The older woman seemed far more impressed by Dong-eun. She looked like the perfect daughter-in-law. As Dong-eun walked away, the woman's smile disappeared. She looked coldly at Hye-jung. To her, Hye-jung was just a woman chasing her son's money. Hye-jung lowered her head. She dared not argue. Instead, she hurried after Dong-eun. The two stopped in the quiet backyard of the temple. Without hesitation, Hye-jung dropped to her knees. She begged Dong-eun, please, don't tell my future mother-in-law about the bullying. She blamed everything on Yeon-jin. She claimed she had only followed orders. She said she had grown up poor. Now she finally had one chance to live a better life. She begged again, please let me go. Dong-eun stayed silent. She picked up a fire poker, then slowly pointed it toward Hye-jung. Hye-jung screamed and fell backward in fear. Dong-eun tossed the poker aside, then mocked her. Back in high school, they had frightened Dong-eun like this every single day, and they had never felt guilty. No matter how many times Hye-jung apologized, Dong-eun never changed her mind. There would be no forgiveness. Finally, Hye-jung wiped away her tears. Her fake kindness disappeared. She coldly asked, what do you want? Dong-eun quietly reached into her bag. Then she pulled out a phone. Hye-jung's face turned white. It was the phone she had lost. Every secret she had was now inside Dong-eun's hands. Dong-eun gave her one condition: behave yourself. If she did, Dong-eun would never visit her future mother-in-law again. Hye-jung immediately agreed. She even offered her loyalty. Then she asked what she needed to do. Dong-eun gave her a simple order: report Myung-oh as missing. Soon, the other three bullies learned the police had started investigating Myung-oh's disappearance. They immediately began blaming each other. Who had called the police? Very quickly, their suspicion landed on Hye-jung. She was the weakest among them. Sarah lost her temper. She slapped Hye-jung without mercy. That slap planted a new desire. Hye-jung now wanted revenge too. By this point, everything was ready. Dong-eun had carefully placed every piece on the board. Soon, she would drag every one of them into the abyss. But before that, one last matter remained. Ju, for 7 long years, he had continued sending her messages. This time, Dong-eun finally replied. At first, Ju thought his phone had broken. Then joy rushed over him. He immediately asked her to meet beneath the big tree, where they had once played Go together. Afraid she might disappear again, Ju finally confessed his feelings. Dong-eun answered with silence. Ju understood at once. She did not need a prince. She needed someone willing to become her executioner. Not long after, Ju sent another message. He begged her to open her heart and give him a chance. At that moment, someone nearby was grilling meat. The sizzling sound echoed through the air. In an instant, painful memories came flooding back. Dong-eun collapsed onto the ground. A passerby rushed over and woke her. Still shaken, went to meet Ju. Then she revealed everything, her revenge, her plan. She hoped the truth would make him walk away. Ju begged Dong-eun to let go of her hatred. He wanted her to free herself from the past. Dong-eun only laughed. Then she slowly rolled up one sleeve. Old scars covered her arm. Ju stood frozen. Dong-eun quietly spoke. He had seen only one arm, yet he was already horrified. And still, he expected her to forget everything. Ju had no words. Dong-eun slowly removed her coat. More scars appeared. They covered her body. Ju felt sick. He could not imagine the pain she had survived. Dong-eun looked at him calmly. She said her dignity had been taken long ago. All that remained were broken pieces. Then she asked him to stay away. But Ju refused. He no longer felt love alone. He felt her pain. He promised to become her executioner. He even wanted to kill every bully immediately. Dong-eun shook her head. Death was too easy. Taking away everything they loved would hurt far more. Do-hyun questioned Yeon again. He asked about Dong-eun and the bullying. Yeon denied everything. She even claimed she had been the victim. Do-hyun looked at his shameless wife, then stayed silent. Later, he wandered into a public plaza. A crowd had gathered nearby. Ju was playing Go. Do-hyun loved the game too, so he joined him. Everything happened exactly as Ju expected. As the match continued, the moves felt strangely familiar. Do-hyun finally asked who had taught him. Ju calmly answered. He was helping someone. Take revenge. Do-hyun immediately knew. He meant Dong-eun. Do-hyun quietly said revenge was difficult in Korea. Without a gun, Ju calmly replied. A knife was enough. One stab was all it took. It was his silent declaration of war for Dong-eun. That evening, Dong-eun handed the nanny the money taken from Sarah. She told her to send her daughter overseas. The promise she had made would soon come true. One day, the little girl would hear that her father had died, but she would hear it far away from home, far away from the mother, who planned to kill him. The nanny felt heartbroken. Still, she believed this future was safer for her daughter. At the same time, Yeon began fighting back. She hired someone to investigate Dong-eun. Soon, she discovered Dong-eun lived directly across from her house. Yeon paid a locksmith and secretly entered Dong-eun's home. The moment she stepped inside, she froze. Every wall was covered with photographs. Each one documented their lives, from high school until today. A cold fear spread through her body. For the first time, she regretted everything. She should never have bullied Dong-eun. She believed she should have killed her instead. Suddenly, the front door opened. She thought Dong-eun had returned. She was ready to finish it, but the person walking in was Do-hyun. Yeon instantly panicked. She quickly asked why he was there. Do-hyun never answered. The broken lock already revealed the truth. He quietly saw another side of his wife. Faced with his silence, Yeon completely lost control. She accused him of liking another woman. Do-hyun asked only one question. Had she bullied Dong-eun? Yeon lied again. She claimed they had simply never gotten along. Then she pretended to be the victim. She blamed Do-hyun for doubting her. After saying that, she walked away. Standing alone, Do-hyun looked around the room. Then one photo caught his eye. His daughter, standing beside Jae-jun. His suspicion grew even stronger. Maybe she was never his child. The next day, Dong-eun confronted Yeon. She knew Yeon had broken into her house. Dong-eun demanded she surrender herself. She even showed evidence of the bullying from years ago. Yeon did not panic. She laughed instead. Then she told Dong-eun, "Go ahead, call the police." She claimed she had hundreds of ways to escape punishment. Dong-eun gave one final warning. This was her last chance. Yeon felt no regret. Instead, she proudly declared something cruel. Dong-eun should thank her. Without the bullying, she would never have become a teacher. She would never have changed her life. Those arrogant words destroyed the last bit of pity inside Dong-eun.